Good morning, everyone. Myself, Dr. Mohammad Mujib Gulzar Khan from R.C. Patel Institute of Pharmaceutical Education Research, Department of Pharmaceutical Chemistry, Shirpur. Here I am going to present the presentation on environment sustainability and its role in the pharmaceutical industries. First of it all, I am here thankful to D.Y. Patel College of Engineering, Akudi, coordinator of FDP, Dr. Vinay Kulkarni, and his entire team for presenting or for arranging this wonderful FDP for on the topic of our very important topic of environment and sustainability. The first video which I shared in the course of FDP, it was related to the environment awareness. It's important and how can we minimize the toxic materials in the environment, the measures for it. In the second video, I given the or demonstrated the pharmaceutical chemical compounds are dispersed in the environment, how can we emit from the environment and how can we minimize the quantity of this toxic substances released from the pharmaceutical industries in the environment. My video outcomes are the ISO system and its role in quality assurance in the pharmaceutical industry. Second, the different methods of carbon footprinting calculations. Third, environment sustainability in pharmaceutical industries. First, about the ISO and its role in pharmaceutical industry's quality assurance. Here, the ISO guidelines which I am representing here, it is related to the air cleanness inside the industry and the biocontaminations. So, first ISO 14641, it is related to the air cleanness classification which have the purpose of it, detection capabilities of the discrete particles counter. Second, ISO 146442, testing clean rooms, confirmation of the air cleanness class. ISO 146443, related to test methods, means the instrument which we use to perform the or is used for the testing purpose, means minimum performance requirement of the instruments. Fourth, ISO 146444, which is related to the design, construction and install of the area of the industry, which is related to the construction of it. Next, ISO 146445, which is related to the operational system, which address the operational aspects of clean rooms with a focus on the principal hazards. 14647, which is related to the separative devices, requirements for separative enclosures, that is clean air hoods, glow boxes, isolators. ISO 146981, which is very important, that is the airborne contamination. As we already know that the airborne contaminations is the bio molecules which are very dangerous for the pharmaceuticals, where it is generate the biodegradation in the pharmaceuticals. So the ISO 146981 is related to airborne contamination, which provides the guidance on the measurement of airborne contaminations. 14692, biocontamination control, that how can it can be evaluated and interpreted for the biocontaminations. Next, ISO 1400 with respect to pharma industry. 14001, which is required for the guidance of use. 14004 for general guidance on the implementations. 14005, which is for the flexible approach to phased implementation. 14006, guidelines for incorporating eco-design system. 14015, environment assessment of sites and organizations. 14020 to 14025, which is for environmental labels and declarations. ISO NP 14030, green bonds, environmental performance of nominated projects and assets. Discuss post-production environment assessment. Next, important in the environment sustainability, that throughout the FDP we have understood by many expert from the many expert lectures that what is a carbon footprint and how it affects on the environment sustainability. A carbon footprint is the amount of greenhouse gases, primarily carbon dioxide, released into the atmosphere by a particular human activity. A carbon footprint can be a broad measure or be applied to the actions of an individual, a family, an event, an organization, or even an entire nation. If you see the graph of it, that how the global carbon dioxide emission from the industry, so if you see the 24% shared by the iron steel industries, 19% by the cement industries, 8% by the petrochemicals industries, 6% from the aluminum industries, and 3% from the paper industries, rest of 40% from the other industries. There are multi-pronged approach is needed for the minimizing the carbon dioxide emission in these. First, process and energy optimizations, renewable energy supplies, carbon dioxide reduce, breakthrough technologies. Total emission due to chemical industry, greenhouse gas emission due to chemical industries, you will see the chart from 1990 to the 2017. So we are decreasing on that. Then the global greenhouse gases emission scenario represents on the chart. So next important is carbon dioxide emission factor, carbon dioxide emission calculation. So in this, the carbon dioxide emission factor from of the source is very important, and this factor is very important for the calculation of it. So the formula for it, the carbon dioxide emission factor is equal to 1/4 mass of carbon dioxide emitted upon quantity of activity. So carbon dioxide emission factor for green gaseous hydrocarbons and fossils is represented in tables, if you will see, for the methane, ethane, propane, natural gas, and flare gases. If we take the example of carbon dioxide emission from the ammonia production, so the formula can be used as a E carbon dioxide is equal to AP into FR into CCF into COF into 44/12 minus RCO2, where ECO2 is equal to emission of carbon dioxide, AP for ammonia production, FR fuel requirement, CCF carbon content factor, COF carbon oxidation factor, RCO2 CO2 required for downstream use. So calculating the carbon footprint is fundamental to understand how an organization activity impact global sustainability. The main challenge is to how to calculate it when environmental aspects are intangible assets. How the environment sustainability in pharmaceutical industries affects. So there can be many methods that may be practiced which may help in absorbing toxic materials and harmful emissions around us without affecting the health. So if we'll see the chart, so throughout the chart we'll observe that the pharmaceutical medicines are responsible for 3%, then hospitals 3%, and healthcare and social assistance 6%. So total 12% of total carbon dioxide emission is from the pharmaceutical medicines, healthcare, social assistance, and hospitals. If you see, that is very interesting diagram, that how that pharmaceuticals, metabolites, pharmaceutical toxic materials, or veterinary materials, then the fertilizers are coming from different sources, are mixing in the aquatic system, and how it is disturbing the aquatic environment or terrestrial environment. So if you see the example, the metabolites from the human wastage, if it not proper management done, then it releases into the aquatic system. Then the fertilizers comes into the aquatic system. Veterinary materials of veterinary drugs which we use for the livestock proper purpose, it via or indirectly or directly reaches to the aquatic system. These are the different sources from where the pharmaceutical metabolites or toxic materials from the medicines or veterinary substances reaches to the aquatic system and disturb the environment. So which the methods we should include for proper environment sustainability in the pharmaceutical industries? It should have the written standard procedures, should have the environmental risk assessments, should be internal and quality audits air emissions, water and soil contamination control should be there, safe discharge program should be there, Waste management program should be there, and most important, the training of staff and suppliers. In the last but not the least, the conclusion. Through its operations, the pharmaceutical industry has a substantial impact on the environment. Not only do pharmaceutical manufacturers have a critical role to play in addressing these issues, they also have responsibility to foster environment sustainability and reduce pharmaceutical pollution at source throughout their supply chain. Within the broad framework of sustainable development, government, academia, and industry should strive to maximize resource efficiency through activities such as energy and non renewable resource conservation, risk minimization, pollution prevention, minimization of waste at all stages of product life cycle, and the development of products that are durable and can be reused and recycled. So, at last, I am here request all of you which are listening this video that now as a human being we should be very enthusiastic, energetic, and should be wishful to save our environment. We should be focused on the renewable energy sources. In the last, I am quoting the example of my college over here is that in our institute the management and the principal taken their efforts to implement solar energy system, and on the entire roof of our college building we are having a solar system through we are generating around 300 units per day, which is more enough for the total institute use of electrical energy. So this is a best example I quoted here from the my institute only. So all the big organization which are having a big all the big organizations should come forward to have this type of system for the renewable energy resources utilization. Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you.